4 years ago, I made a vision board in hopes I could manifest my goals. Fast forward to 2025, nearly everything on this board has come true. So in lieu of the new year, in lieu of us being in the year of 2025, kind of sounds like a really cool number to be honest with you, I want to make a video on how you can make a vision board in 2025. Not just that, but give you the proof, the evidence that you would need to know, you know what? It's time. It's time for me to put what's in here out there and make it happen. All right, so that's exactly what we're gonna do in this video. Let's hop right into it. So we've got 4 distinct steps here, and we're going to talk about what a vision board is, some of the supplies you might need, how to come up with the vision in the first place, and then what are some of the next steps after you've made your beautiful vision board. The last thing we're going to talk about though is the vision board tour. I'm going to walk you through everything on my vision board more or less and show you everything that's come true. So the very first thing, what is a vision board? The definition I've come up with for myself is a vision board should be an outward, tangible expression and definition of what you desire. The idea of it is to take what exists in here, what you see for yourself, your future self, and bring it out into the real world, because ultimately you want to bring these things to fruition. You want to create reality. The best way to predict the future is to create it. If I told you to get in the car and drive, where the fuck are you going? You could step on the gas, make some turns. Who knows? Maybe you end up, if you're starting from New York, maybe you end up in Florida, maybe up in the Atlantic, maybe you go all the way to California. How about I give you a destination? How about I say, hey, so where would you like to go? And you say, you know what? I'm not a fan of the cold. I kind of want some warmer weather. Cool. So now I know I'm not sending you up north, not towards where I went to school at Colgate, definitely not towards Canada. I'm not sending you further north. I'm going to send you south because it's warmer south. So I say, you know what? Here's some places we could look at. How about you aim for Florida? Okay, no problem. But where in Florida? So the questions start coming, and now you get more specific. I'm giving you a direction. Guess what, though? You still have to drive. You still have to steer. There's still going to be obstacles in your way. There's going to be traffic. Your car might break down. There are going to be things that happen along the way that are outside of your control. It's up to you to adapt and overcome. The whole purpose of this vision board is to give you direction. So that yes, you do still have to drive. Yes, you will have to change your tire. Yes, you will have to bring the car in for service and yada, yada, yada. But you know where you're going. You have a direction. That's what this is. This is about instilling a direction. The last thing I'll say here is I do believe, kind of looping in some of the faith stuff, I do believe that the scripture is correct. We were created in the likeness and image of God. And that means that we were created to be creators. So our ability to design things, to literally build things from scratch, from nothing, to give meaning and life to things, to manage, to operate, to proliferate, that's by design, that's on purpose. So you kind of owe it to yourself to embark down a journey like this. And this seems like kind of corny, cliche, cringy, whatever, but this is very real. I don't like to use the word manifest, but that is quite literally what you are doing. It's just a very important step towards building a future that is greater than where you are in the present. Okay, so now that we've talked about the definition of what a vision board is, let's talk about the supplies that you'll need. This could be as intense or as not intense as you want. I chose to be a little bit more intense. When I made this back in 2021, I went to Staples, got a bifold board pretty cheap, and then obviously needed printer, ink, and then my computer to find the images, maybe some tape or glue. And that's basically it. Still pretty low cost, but I enjoy doing it this way. You don't have to do it this way. This is how I will be doing it again. I like to be physically involved in the craft. It's also something I take very seriously. You know, you're literally creating and cultivating your future, and there's something really cool and unique about that, to be hands-on with it. However, like I said, you don't have to be as intense as this. You can literally just write it out. You could just write it out. And honestly, I would recommend doing that anyway. You want to be able to write everything out. That also is a very incremental, or not incremental. Bro, I keep fucking up. This is, John, if you do this again, I'm gonna fucking fire. You can write everything down. You can, if you have your laptop, you have your computer, add all your images and words and whatever to a file. And it's basically just gonna be like your universal file that houses all of your vision. That's fine too. You can find the medium that works for you. If I were to give you a recommendation though, it's gonna be go through the effort and do something like this. How to come up with your vision. This is the third, probably obviously the most important piece of this video. So I'm gonna share a small story with you guys, and hopefully it will resonate with you And then I'm going to talk to you about my process, my mindset, my approach when building out your vision board. So back in college, I had started off at Manhattan College and then transferred to Colgate mid-year, my sophomore year. And I got to Colgate. I wasn't struggling as a student, but I was struggling as a person, like as an individual. I was going through a lot in my personal life, and I was struggling to find a lot of meaning in things. It was around that time I was starting to find powerlifting, so maybe actually this was more towards my junior year. And long story short, I don't know how I was connected to him, but it's this guy, Jason. I don't know if he currently still runs this company, but I know he had founded it, this big powerlifting equipment and apparel company. And he kind of acted as like a mentor, although I didn't see it that way at the time. I didn't really know that that's what his role was for me at that time. But he was kind of like a mentor for me, and he would give me a lot of his time. And a lot of our conversations were about business, about creating success, not just as an athlete, but really as like an entrepreneur, because that's just what I always loved. And that's always what my passion has been. And one of the books he recommended to me was a book by Robert Kiyosaki. It was A students work for C students and B students work for the government, something like that. So you can see kind of how our conversations would be, right? It was very, very entrepreneurial. It was very like, okay, here's how you seize opportunity. Here's how you manage your time. If you encounter this problem, here's how I would go about it. Okay, so that's the context to it. One day he tells me, he's like, look, when designing your future, I want you to think about what's the perfect job for you. Like, what would be the one thing that you would be doing that you would be like, man, this is fucking awesome. Like, I could do this for the rest of my life. When you figure out what that thing is, design your life around it. It was really profound at the time because I was younger and I was struggling with trying to figure out what is my vision? Like, what do I want? I have an idea, but I don't know exactly what I want to do. And I certainly don't know how the fuck to get there. So that was pretty profound for me at the time. And what I did was I took it and I molded it into something that was more powerful for me that I have now used and given to other people. And that is this: perfect paradise. You have everything you could ever want. The people you want, the things you want to do, the cars you want to drive, the location, everything. Everything is perfect. What do you still do that day? You have a life to live. You've got everything. What do you still do that day when you wake up? Not only that, but who are you doing it with? If you can answer that question as detailed as possible, you've come up with half of this board. The other half is going to be, what are the things in your life that makes it so perfect? What do you own? What are you driving? Who are you driving with, right? For me personally, I know I'm still going to go to the gym, but what does that gym look like? Is it my gym? What's the equipment? Who's training with me? Is it my friends, family? Am I married? Do I have kids? Am I on the beach? Right? So you start to really imagine all of this and think about each piece. That second half of the board is exactly what that life looks like for you. That's the vision. What makes up the perfect environment? What makes up the perfect life that you're living? That's the other half of this board. So remember, the first half is, what are you still doing that day and who are you doing it with? What are you going to invest your time into despite having all you want, right? That should define the tasks, the job, the employment, right? The business, what have you. But then the other half is, what are literally the things that you want to acquire, the location you want to live in, the people you want to do it all with? What does that look like? So that's the vision. That's what creates the vision. You're creating this perfect paradise for yourself. And the last thing I'll say about this, it's this idea of the future self, right? This future self, how does he act? What does he say? How does he look? Who does he know? How does he hold himself? Who does he inspire, if any? What kind of impact is he trying to leave on the world? What moves him? What motivates him? Dream as big as you possibly fucking can. Whatever you think is big, go 10 times greater. That's the process. That's the method. It's a vision. And I cannot stress this enough. You guys have to dream as big as humanly fucking possible. Before we move on to the fourth step, which is like the action step, I'm going to give you a little bit of help. I'm going to give you a tip and a trick because there are some people, I was never like this, luckily, but there are some people who don't have that like natural ambition in them. My mother would be one of those people. She literally lives for her children. She doesn't want to own some Fortune 500 company. She doesn't need fancy cars and nice watches and all sorts of shit. She's happy if her family's happy. So for someone like her, I would say, well, okay, that's great. You can still be ambitious in the things that you are passionate in your children, right? But what I'd like you to do, if you're struggling to figure out what it is that you personally would want, start looking at the people who you admire, who inspire you, who have moved you and impacted you in a positive way, who have created positive change, maybe not just in yourself, but in others. And start to take the traits and qualities, the positive ones, because nobody's perfect, take the traits and qualities from all those people that have that effect. That becomes your future self, your perfect self. And that's exactly what I did. So again, just to rehash, the first half of this board, when you're trying to figure out like, okay, what kind of job would I want to work? What would I want to do with my life, whatever. Remember, perfect paradise, what are you still going to do that day? Boom, that's your answer. The second half, you have everything you want. What is it that you have? What is it that you wanted, right? What kind of car did you want to drive? Where did you want to live? Whatever, the people, the places, all of it. That's the second half of the board. The last thing, the tip and trick, is to think about the people who might have what you want, the people who have accomplished what you want to accomplish, the people who have had the impact on the world in the way that you might want to have that impact. Use that as the inspiration. For me, Arnold was a big piece of that because of how much he accomplished and how so much of it is what I wanted to accomplish. So that played a pivotal role in shaping my vision, as we'll talk about once we get to the later half of this video and I give you the tour of the vision board. All right, so that is how you design your vision board. That's how you come up with the vision. And then in terms of matching that to shit, dude, you can find stuff that symbolizes it. You can find stuff that is exactly it. I mean, it is completely free reign. It's whatever is going to work best for you. That's what you use. But what matters most is that you have the core. And it's important to define these things. It's important to come up with these goals, not just like, I'm going to have XYZ car or whatever. It's I'm going to achieve XYZ thing. I'm going to do this for this person, for this reason. Get as specific as you possibly can. And it's really helpful to write all that stuff out, because then when you go to search for images, if this is how you choose to do it, when you go to search for images and you're going to be pasting on the board and stuff like that, you know the core of it. You know what to look for and what it represents. Somebody else may look at this and be like, oh, you want to be on like a fitness magazine, whatever? Why? I don't want to be on a fitness magazine. They don't know what this actually was representative of for me, right? And that's what's unique about it. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about step number 4, which is the action step. What to do next. So you've made your vision board, right? You've got everything on here. You've taken the time to really think about, okay, if I had everything I could ever want, what would I have? And then also, what would I still do that day? I've thought about that. I've thought about the people in my life or influencers or whoever that I admire, that I look up to in some way. Maybe I don't put them on a pedestal, but I really do like them. And I value this trait. And I value, this person's ability to hold themselves accountable and consistently, try and strive to be great. And I value this person because they're a phenomenal artist. And, you've done all of that. The next step is the step that counts the most. This is where the real manifestation happens, the real magic happens. That is to take these goals, this vision, and start reverse engineering them so that you can create a battle plan, a game plan, a strategy to attain them, to achieve them, to acquire them. A lot of these things, I'm not going to lie to you, probably all of them are going to take years to come to fruition. But it's not on your timing. Of course, for me, for my faith, I believe it's on His timing. And there may be things I put on this board that are truly not meant for me. Only time will tell. But one thing I can almost guarantee you, you ask, you shall receive. You seek, you will find. Faith without works is dead. You have to put in the work. That's why we have to reverse engineer this, come up with a battle plan so we can execute on it and actually start working towards achieving some of these things. Okay, so before I give you this tour of my vision board, talk about what I put on here and what has come true since then, I want to give you an example of what it would be like to take action on your vision. So these medals here, right? Obviously, this is indicative of becoming a world champion or a champion of some sorts. At that time, this was before I had competed at Junior Worlds. And I won't get into too much of the details because I want to save that for when we give you the tour. But what I will say is I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I put this on my vision board. Obviously, this is a direction. This is where I'm headed. This is what I want for myself. How do I get there? So in lieu of step number 4, taking action, let me reverse engineer that. How does one become a champion? First, you need a sport to become a champion in, if it's going to be athletic, right? Okay, pick that. It was powerlifting. Then how do you become a world champion? Well, okay, first you have to qualify for nationals. Then you have to win nationals. Then you have to go to worlds and win worlds. That's it. That's the path. It's pretty fucking simple. Okay, cool. That's my path now. I've reverse engineered it. Now I've got my steps. We can break it down even further now. We can say, okay, I have to qualify for nationals. What does that look like? Well, To qualify for nationals, I need a certain total, so I'm gonna have to be pretty strong, right? Not sure where I am right now, but I'll probably need to get a coach who I trust to get me strong, to teach me what I need to know, maybe even to handle me at this meet so that I can qualify for nationals. Boom, that's taken care of. Then every step of the way, you're constantly fine-tuning and tweaking your system, your strategy, your approach, all of it, so that you can continually rise and eventually attain this. And it will come, but you have to keep going. You just have to keep fucking going. You're going all in on all of this, okay? That's an example of taking something that's on your vision board, reverse engineering it to create a battle plan, a system, a strategy, an approach to go achieve it and accomplish it. People might ask, like, well, where does the faith come in? You will find that when you embark on these journeys, especially if you're dreaming big, it's gonna be filled with adversity. It's one massive trial. You cannot do it alone. You can't. Trust me, I have tried. You cannot do it alone. And it's better when you don't do it alone. You have to have faith. A lot of these things, especially if it's coming from the heart and it's pure and it's good, it's for you. It's meant for you. God has promises for you. You have to take him at his word. We were each born for greatness. Every single one of us. We have a seed of greatness planted within us. But it's our job to grow it. It is our job. That's the premise of free will. You have to choose. You have to choose. No one's saying it's going to be easy. We're just saying it's possible. Before I take you through the vision board I made back in 2021 and give you all the proof you'll ever need to make your own vision board now in 2025, I need to share something very exciting with you. This is Iron Claw Gym Chalk. This is my own gym chalk. That's right. I started a company called Iron Claw. Super excited about it. And it's gym chalk. It's lab made, lab grade in the US. So everything is here. The only thing we outsource, complete transparency, is the bag itself, although eventually I'm really hoping I can move that into the States. This chalk is my own brand. We spent some time sampling, formulating. I'm really fucking happy with how this came out, dude. Really, really happy. And for those of you who are avid lifters, avid athletes, you know how important chalk is. And it plays like such a gritty role in training for us because it's a part of our work. It's the most hands-on product you can get. You know, like it's not even like a support product. This is literally going through the dirt with us because without it, we would not be able to perform at the level we do in world championships, at Sheffield, what have you. So this is with us 24/7 all the time when it comes to training. And it's because of that I decided to make this product. And of course the tagline has to be where grip meets grit, which I'm super stoked about. And on the back, I wrote this message myself, super proud of it. Have my signature there, of course, has to be my stamp of approval. So where can you buy this chalk? As of right now, I'm working on getting this chalk onto Amazon. I wanna make things super easy, super seamless. I know everyone trusts Amazon for the most part, so I'd rather just have Amazon handle the distribution and the fulfillment of it. So that's what we're working on. But if you don't see it on Amazon when you do see this video, just reach out to me personally, either comment under this video, send me an email, or message me on Instagram and we'll figure it out. This has to be by far the best chalk I've ever used. I will say though, last thing before we dive into this, I will say it's a little bit drier and it's on purpose for it to be a little bit drier. So in the past, I used to use Climbers chalk. I used to use Friction Labs Climbers chalk and it was really, really good, but it was also very moist. And I just found that it wasn't sticking to my hands the way I'd like it to. That sparked my journey down the road of like, okay, I kind of want to make my own chalk and have something that I can trust and rely on. Start formulating. This one is very dry and it's a little bit different, but anyone who's tried it so far, who sampled it, loves it. All right, so can't stress that enough. Would love for you guys to try it out. Let's talk about this vision board. So section 1, it's only fair that I mention this section first, is faith. Obviously, there's really only one picture on here that represents faith, but at the time of this vision board, I was not close to Christ at all. Growing up, went to Catholic school, have always been around it, but never really bought it. Since birth, I've been fucking skeptical. I've always asked questions, a lot of questions, and I used to be very antagonistic about it. Guys, if you knew how much of a transformation I have made since pasting this picture on here to now, it's insane. It's insane. Now, I'm not saying it's because of the vision board, but this is a pretty big picture for a reason. In fact, I think it's probably the biggest picture on here, and I did that for a reason, because this is the most important. I wanted to grow closer to Christ and make my faith grow, and it has, substantially. And in fact, the one magical element, the one key to finally being able to achieve some version of success in powerlifting as an athlete, and to not fall short as often, and to reach new great heights, is because of my faith. The faith piece and allowing Christ into my life, that was by far the biggest factor. This unlocked all of this. Okay, so for me, like I said, back in 2021, almost no relationship with Christ, really struggling with that. Now, night and day difference. Night and day difference. All right, now the next section we'll talk about is athletics. Naturally, I've got Olympic medals here. Since putting this on the board, won a junior world championship. At that meet, I also won best lifter. I placed third at Sheffield, competed at Sheffield twice, competed at Open Worlds twice, NAPF championships at 2 Open World records. So it's quite obvious that this has come to fruition. We got Taylor Atwood here, Russell Orhii, and Conor McGregor, right? Conor McGregor, this picture really was more so just to embody like the aura, right? And I literally have pictures now that look like this in a stadium and in an arena, in an environment similar to where he's got that. And I'm thinking of Sheffield right now, actually. But the picture that looks the most like this is when I won the Junior World Championship. It's after the deadlift. I'm like fucking like ripping somebody's throat apart, you know? Just that aura, that's come to fruition. Taylor Atwood, very good friend of mine now. I've shared the platform with him multiple times now. I didn't know who the fuck, I didn't even know his last name, let alone the fact that I would ever even get the chance to train with him, film with him, compete with him. We didn't know each other at all. Now I have his number and we talk regularly. I don't have as much of a close relationship with Russ as I do with Taylor, but I've worked with his brand, Get Better Today. Pretty crazy, right? I mean, like Russ, especially when I first started, was just this big social media icon in the sport, had no idea who he was personally. Fast forward, and I'm working with his brand. I'm competing on or even better than his level. I mean, like that's crazy, right? Like this, how this has come full circle. Business side is a little bit tricky because there's a lot of pieces to it, but from an influencer perspective, I have a lot of images on here that were meant to give like the visual of being an influencer, having a following, having a positive impact on people, inspiring people. So I've got Christian Guzman here. I've got Greg Plitt here, obviously Arnold, and I've got the brands, some of the brands I wanted to work with, Alpha Elite, Gymshark. This is like a fitness expo down here. That's what this magazine was for, like this cover, the fitness magazine covers. All of that stuff is there to kind of embody this idea of getting into social media, finally growing in social media and having an impact. All that stuff has come to fruition, guys. Now, am I anywhere near where I want to be? No. But if you look at where I started, it was like fucking zero. We're going to throw up a picture of back in 2021, I believe it was, when I posted a picture talking about the importance of vision boards and had a fraction of the engagement that I would get now. It's crazy. It's night and day. But yeah, man, I mean, expos, I've been to several Arnold expos, not just to go as somebody to be there and have fun, but somebody who is paid to fly in to meet people for SBD, for Raw Gear, for other companies. Like I've done it, right? Gymshark, Alpha Elite. I haven't worked with Gymshark or Alpha Elite, but I did get signed with Raw Gear when I first started. Actually, I believe it was like 2021, 2022, something like that. Flew out to LA, met Bradley Martin, met a lot of the other creators out there, filmed content with them. That was sick. Christian Guzman, fun little story about Christian Guzman. I'm looking at my girlfriend right now because I think she knows what I'm gonna say. So Christian Guzman, I believe now he's married to this girl, Heidi, what's her last name? Heidi Summer, whatever the fuck. Anyway, the girl that he ended up being together with for the long haul, this girl Heidi, right? She's like this boss chick, blonde, blue eyes, and super independent, whatever. And it's not that I like idolized the relationship, but at the time I was like, man, like I'd love to have a relationship like that one day because, you know, especially at the time, like my personal life was all over the place. His wife, his girlfriend, whatever, his relationship, right? I'm thinking to myself like, man, this is crazy. Like they look so happy together. She seems awesome, whatever. Okay. Fast forward, and now I'm in a great relationship with a girl who is blonde, blue eyes, boss chick, independent as fuck, and her name is Heidi. So it's pretty crazy. Look, his girlfriend or his wife, she's not on his vision board. I know, I get it, but do you see like how this shit like kind of works? It's kind of crazy, right? Like it's like I'm fucking blushing right now because yeah. So Christian Guzman's on here. In terms of Arnold, the last thing I'll say about business side in terms of like the influencer stuff, Arnold's on here. Arnold has always kind of been like somebody who I've like looked up to some degree. I think he was maybe not the best person in his personal life, but in terms of business and what he's been able to accomplish, fucking insane. Dude didn't know a lick of English, comes over from Austria, wins multiple world championships in bodybuilding. Not only that, but is the reason why bodybuilding blew up to be what it is today. Was an entrepreneur while he was doing that, hiring his bodybuilding friends, feeding them, putting food on their table, made it big with real estate, then eventually becomes one of Hollywood's highest paid actors, then goes on to be fucking governor, wasn't even born here, but becomes governor. That's crazy. Just goes to show you what's possible, right? So he's always been a huge inspiration, especially because of what he did in athletics and stuff and what he's done for bodybuilding, which is exactly what I want to do for powerlifting. I mean, I really do have that same model right now in my head. And 2024, actually at the Arnold Expo, I get selected as one of the only athletes to do so. I go to meet Arnold in person. I get to ask him some questions. Crazy how full circle everything came. Like it's nuts. And mind you, at the time of making this, I remember thinking to myself, like, man, I need to be the guy that people want to come meet. And even when I met him, I was thinking like, this was surreal. This was amazing. This was awesome. But I need to be the person who's in his seat. I don't want to be the guy who's like, sir. It's not me. I want to be wearing the other shoes. And I know that time will come. And it has to be deserved and earned. But it's just crazy to see everything come full circle because like I said, when I first made this, all I was thinking was like, man, like how insane would it be to meet him and get networked to him, whatever. And then fast forward, it comes to fruition. Just fucking crazy. Some of this stuff has not come to fruition. So like cars and houses and real estate stuff on here, tons and tons of cash and money, I promise you. I am not absolutely fucking filthy rich. I'm just super rich. No, I'm only kidding. No, I'm fucking broke. Stop laughing. That's not funny. No, we're doing all right, John? We're doing okay. Just that all the money goes to. All jokes aside, I had zero businesses, zero income whatsoever when I first made this. Just lots of dreams. And fast forward, I have 3 businesses that are like official, and each of which are revenue producing, all of which are net positive. It's actually except for the Gym Chalk right now because we haven't technically launched this just yet. So obviously, we had costs and they haven't been recovered yet because we haven't launched it. But I'm confident we'll be able to do well with this. Fast forward, and I'm in a completely different position with a lot more opportunity, and it's amazing. And I've learned so much. Like I really have. I've learned so much. It's come at a great cost, but I've learned so much. So yeah, am I rolling in dough like Floyd Mayweather right over here? No, not yet. But the truth of the matter is, I started from zero. And now we're not at zero anymore. A lot of this has come to fruition. A lot of this has provided direction. And the most important piece here is if nothing else, it's something that you can see every single day to reaffirm the self-belief that yes, what I believe I can achieve, I will achieve. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. That's the tour of my vision board. This, guys, I'm telling you, from zero, multiple businesses, we're making money, we're growing, we're scaling. From zero as an athlete, junior world champion, competing at the Sheffield stages. Guys, I'm gonna give you something that somebody once told me, a friend of mine, Averill. He saw me after I had competed at the first Sheffield. He said, you know what's crazy? I knew you before you had ever competed in a competition. And at that time, your total was the same as everyone else's. You were just as strong as everyone else. It's crazy to think that just a few years later, look how much further you've gotten. What's that difference? I'm sure we could all make excuses and we can all say shit that really is valid, that really is true, genetics and lifestyle choice or whatever. But I do believe that it is a choice. It has been a choice. It's this. I am so fucking obsessed with my potential that I'm gonna take the time to do this and it's going to come to fruition. Maybe not on my time, but I believe it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I know it to be true. I can feel it in my bones. That's what I'm trying to impart onto you guys. It's true. When I made this board, I was just as strong as everybody else. We were all at the same level. Now, fast forward, we're ahead. It's that simple. If that's not proof enough that you should take your shit seriously, take your goals seriously, I don't know what is ever going to convince you of that. So this, I mean, everything that's come to fruition, it's insane. It's insane. Do yourself the favor, take the time, invest in yourself enough, care about yourself and your future enough, and the people around you who you are going to support, provide for, and impact. Do this. It's time to make your vision board in 2025. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments. Like I said, guys, I'm super excited about this Gym Chalk. If you do happen to buy some, let me know. I would love your feedback on it. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.